Welcome to Stellarplots, where every story has a twist. Let's dive in.
He told me he was broke, that he couldn't afford anything, that we needed to be careful with money. But one night, I checked his phone. And what I found didn't just shock me. It changed everything. We had been together for almost 4 years, and for the most part, things were normal. Not perfect, but stable. At least, that's what I thought. Lately, though, something felt off. He kept saying money was tight, that he was stressed, that we needed to cut back. No eating out, no shopping, no trips. And I believed him. I trusted him. Because why wouldn't I? But then, little things started adding up. He was always on his phone, smiling at messages, then locking the screen quickly, taking calls in another room, turning his phone away when I walked by. At first I told myself I was overthinking. I didn't want to be that person, the jealous one, the paranoid one. But the feeling wouldn't go away. It just kept getting louder. One night, he fell asleep early. His phone was right there next to him, face up, unlocked. I stared at it for what felt like forever. I knew I shouldn't. I knew if I checked, there was no going back. But something inside me said, look. So I did. The first thing I saw was a notification. Payment received. I froze. And my heart dropped. $1,800. Then another. $950. Then another. $2,300. Different dates, different amounts, but all going into the same account. An account I had never seen before. My thoughts went everywhere. Is he cheating? Is someone sending him money? Is he hiding something? Why would he lie about being broke if he clearly wasn't? I kept scrolling. More payments, more transactions, thousands of dollars. And suddenly, nothing made sense anymore. I felt sick. Not because of the money, but because of the lie. We were arguing about bills, cutting back on everything, while he was sitting on that. I didn't even recognize him anymore. The next morning, I couldn't hold it in. I asked him directly, "Why are you lying about money?" His face changed instantly, confused, then defensive, then quiet. I told him what I saw, and for a moment, he said nothing. Then finally, he admitted it. He wasn't cheating. He wasn't in debt. He wasn't broke. He had been making money online, a lot of it, for months. But here's the part that hurt the most. He didn't tell me because he didn't think it would last. He wanted to figure it out first. He didn't want to get my hopes up. Instead, he made me feel like we were struggling, like we had nothing. That's when it hit me. There are people, right now, making money in ways you don't even see. Quietly, in the background, while everyone else thinks they're broke. And ever since that moment, I've been trying to understand it. How he did it. How it works. Because clearly, there's something out there that most people are completely missing. He looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "I didn't tell you, because I didn't think you'd understand." Understand what? That he had been lying to me for months? That while I was stressing over bills, he was quietly making more money than I'd ever seen? I just stood there. Because in that moment, it wasn't even about the money anymore. It was about the fact that I had been living in a completely different reality than him. I started replaying everything in my head. Every time he said, "We can't afford that." Every time I said, "It's okay, we'll figure it out." Every sacrifice. Every moment I believed him. And the worst part? He let me. Then I asked him one question. "How much?" He hesitated. That's when I knew. This was bigger than I thought. He finally looked at me and said, "You don't want to know." That's when my stomach dropped. He would have just said it. But this was something else. And that's when I realized something I can't stop thinking about. There are people living right next to you, sleeping next to you, building entire lives you know nothing about. Secrets, income, opportunities, all hidden. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Because I kept thinking about one thing. If he could hide this from me, what else don't I know? And what he showed me the next day? It was even worse. I asked him to show me how he did it. And I thought it would be simple. Post a video, make money, That's what it looked like. But I was completely wrong. The first day I tried, I was excited. This is my moment. He showed me the basics. How to find ideas. How to structure a video. How to post. It didn't look hard until I actually tried to do it. My first video, 0 views. Second video, nothing. Third, still nothing. I kept refreshing the page, waiting for something to happen. But it didn't. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't luck. This wasn't easy. And maybe I just wasn't good at it. I started overthinking everything. My voice, my ideas, my edits. I compared myself to other people. People who were getting thousands of views. And I felt stuck. Like I was watching everyone else win, while I stayed exactly where I started. There was a moment I almost quit. I remember sitting there thinking, maybe this just works for him. Maybe I'm not meant for this. And honestly, that hurt more than anything. But then he said something that changed everything. You're focusing on the wrong thing. It's not about being good. It's about being watched. That stayed with me. So I changed everything. Instead of trying to be perfect, I focused on the first 3 seconds, the hook, the emotion. I started studying what made people stop scrolling, what made them curious, what made them stay. It happened. One video. Just one. It started getting views. Slow at first, then faster. Then it didn't stop. I kept refreshing, but this time, everything was changing. And then I saw it. My first payment. Not huge, but real. And I just sat there staring at it. Because for the first time, I understood. It wasn't about luck. It wasn't about him. It wasn't even about the method. It was about consistency. About learning what works. About not quitting before it clicks. And the craziest part. The thing I was searching for, the thing I thought was impossible, was right there the whole time. I just didn't see it. So if you're watching this, thinking it's too late, or too hard, or not for you, I was exactly where you are. And I almost gave up. And what happened after that first payment is something I didn't expect at all.